Conwell.
Here.
Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Schron. Mr. Schron is absent. Mr. Miller.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Can we have a motion to excuse Councilman Schron?
I so.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Councilman is excused. Chrissy, has anyone signed in for public comment related to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chair, no one has sent in for public comment related to the agenda.
All right. Can we have an approval of a motion to approve our minutes from the August 17th meeting?
I so move. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. No matters have been referred to committee. So on our agenda today, we have two discussion items, Southgate Center and our Youth Opportunities Unlimited contract amendment. And let's start again with our Southgate Center. Is there someone who would like to speak to this matter?
Good afternoon, council members. Michael Dever with the Department of Public Works and John Myers, our real estate manager. We're here before you this afternoon in regards to the amendment to the Southgate Neighborhood Service Center lease. This item had been, we're looking for an amendment to the current lease that has expired on May 30th of this year. And we're looking for an extension from June 1st through the end of the year, December 31st. John, do you want to give some specifics on the item?
Sure. This is a neighborhood family service center the county's been at for many years, approximately 57,000 square feet out at the Southgate Shopping Center. As Health and Human Services has gone through various reviews of their programmatic needs and the best way to efficiently deliver these services, they have decided that it's in the best interest of that delivery model that they're working on to consolidate and save the amount of money, the dollars that we're currently spending in rent there. So in order to do that transition time, there was some back and forth with the landlord and the city and trying to figure out what it could be done and just the logistics of moving. So as it ended up after the back and forth, it was decided to extend to the end of the calendar year. So that's what we're here before you today to seek formal authority to continue this lease for these few more months so that we can orderly plan to move the people to different locations.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with the committee. Are there any questions from the committee? Councilwoman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, you mentioned it's currently 57,000 square feet. Are we using all of that space?
Yes, we are, Mr. Chairman, to Councilwoman Brown.
And we don't have any documentation, at least I don't. What is the current lease extension arrangement, amount, time?
It's for 7 months through December 31st of 2016. So this end of this calendar year, and tell you the numbers here. The entire dollar amount is for $285,663.
Okay, so we
I'm
are.
sorry, you said 2017, not 2016.
To the end of 2016.
2016, this coming December, so several more months. So there's currently that 285 related to the Neighborhood Family Service Center, and an additional almost 41,000 related to our microfilm unit is currently out there. Excuse me. So that's the total is 285. Broken down, it's 236 allocated to HHS and 40 some to microfilm.
Okay, and have we made payments so far?
We did make the initial summer payments to keep good faith with the landlord since we were in a holdover tenancy there.
And we were able to do that without the authorization?
Well, it's a good question. It's sort of a loaded question, Councilwoman. And I believe in a very technical sense, the lease written long ago does have a holdover provision that contemplates essentially holding over for this sort of short period of time. That in essence, we probably technically have full authority, but we wanted to make sure that council and executive were all on the same page.
Okay, and so it is indeed closing at the end of the year on the
Yes. and-
16th.
Yes.
And I understand some reconfiguring is being done for the employees and the people that currently utilize those services at our which building?
There's two facilities, so the microfilm group, which is on the back end of the building, are gonna be relocated to 1642 Lakeside on the upstairs of that facility. It's being reconfigured as we speak. It's really only, we're putting a water line and a slop sink in there for the microfilm unit. And then also, the other space is located over at the Janet and Hunter facility, and that's already built out. There's some slight cosmetic painting and carpeting that was being done over there.
And just for the record, how many employees are being moved from into each of the two addresses that you provided?
It's approximately 85 Jobs and Family Services employees, and I think we could probably, David might be able to tell me that exact number. And then as for the microfilm group, I believe it's 24 employees.
24. Now, with the regards to the 85, and I think this will be my last line of questioning, Mr. Chair, thank you. Have the people that are currently using that facility, is there any notice or signage indicating that the facility will be closing so that they'll know that they won't be able to access these services that they've been clearly, according to Mr. Meyer, for over a decade, been getting services there? How are they going to know? Do we have something?
As for the outreach effort that's going for that facility, I don't have information on that. Maybe somebody from Health and Human Services can provide that. We're basically just the picker-uppers and reconfiguring of the space. So if there's a need to get that information, obviously there is. We'll work with them to assist in that effort.
Okay. Did anyone from Health and Human Services want to address the question?
Good afternoon, David Merriman, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services. It's a very important question. There will be an outreach effort. It will involve sending a notice to every client what the change of address will be for the location of their neighborhood family service center. We will do signage at the building, and we'll be announcing the date of the closure as well as what the new location will be. And then there will be further communication as clients approach the time for a redetermination. They will be given notice if they do want to go in person to speak with a staff person what the location of that in-person visit can be. It's important to note that we allow our clients to go to any of our neighborhood family service centers. So although the Southgate staff will be moving to the Jaden and the Hutter building, a client from that community or any community can go to any JFS building and be served. We have a no wrong door approach. So a person does not have to go to Southgate. They can go to Quincy, they can go to Old Brooklyn, they can go to Janet and Hunter.
I appreciate the no wrong door approach, Mr. Merriman. I think you're clear on how I feel about this circumstance. It's not so much as people being able to go to any of the locations as it is for accessibility, especially given that this is a vulnerable population. There were limited resources to start with, and with the RTA increasing fares and reducing services to take a family center that has been conveniently located for multiple communities on the southeast side and to expect them to be able to access these services at our other locations and with the same convenience is not a realistic option in my opinion. That's just my opinion, but I do appreciate that. Now, you said these are some things that we will do. Do you have some dates that we can anticipate that the signage and notifications will go out?
I don't have dates as I stand here. Our next step is to communicate the final date for the move to the staff. That's something we're looking to do as early as next week. We have the date selected, but I want the staff to hear it from me first. And then as we have that date announced, we'll then begin the communication both to the clients as well as the community, and then our partners in the neighboring communities as well.
Would it be safe to say we can expect that in the next 30 to 45 days?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilwoman?
This is for you, Mr. Merriman. Through the director to, through the chair to Mr. Merriman. I'm more concerned about, I hate when anything closes, and I'm sure you know how probably all of us feel about this as well as the community, but has there been notification to the employees that are gonna move?
The employees, we've had multiple all-staff meetings. The employees know that we're going to move. And the only thing that has not been confirmed is the specific date in which their office will close, and they'll be expected to report to the new location. And you'll excuse me if I haven't shared that date. I committed to them that they would hear it from me first.
Okay, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because I know the microfilm personally used to be at the administration building. They had to pay parking, then they were taken out here to Southgate. They didn't have to pay parking. So just wanted to make sure they were aware that they're now
Right.
gonna have to increase that in out of their salary. They're gonna have to, and for the Lakeside, they're gonna have to pay for parking now, right?
Yeah, Lakeside, the parking is somewhat different from what it is here at this location. Like at the headquarters here, obviously, it's in the range of anywhere from $50 to $100 to park in this area. But Lakeside, I know it's significantly cheaper at that location. One reason there's been a little bit of a delay in this, unfortunately, we had lost one of our employees that was leading the charge on this. And so we've been a little bit of juggling to try and to put those duties onto other people. And so we've got a posting for that position, but we feel we're back on top of it now. We've got a clear plan and time frame that we're going to be making these moves, and we've already communicated that with the microfilm group.
So I haven't, it's not in my district, so I haven't really been kept abreast of everything that's going on, but I'm just wondering, is there I know the rent for the lease was probably astronomical, but was there any consideration or any future consideration for all those individuals that live out there and not gonna be able to get down to any of those centers that you mentioned? Is there a thought process of looking maybe to a different site that would charge less rent or something like that?
I can speak for the JFS portion, and so what I'd say is that there is no rent for the Jane and Hunter building, and so there is no additional cost to us. We also chose that building over the Virgil Brown building because it has parking available for employees. So, I think we probably could have acted a little bit quicker had we wanted to, and made some other tough decisions about how we bring staff into the building. I'm grateful for the opportunity to take a little bit more time, find a solution that doesn't have additional cost to the county, also doesn't require employees to pick up a cost for parking, and to take the time to make that arrangement work out.
So what you're saying is for the Quincy, we're under a lease for that, and Old Brooklyn, we're in a lease. So I just think what's coming from, we really need to look at as a county, like we did at the beginning, where's their needed services at? And we recently did that with the BMVs or the state building, those satellite offices. They were closed one minute, somebody didn't think it was a need, then there was some outcry from some communities, and then there's a need. So this is our most vulnerable population, so I think that it needs to be an overall plan where it's looked at, where are these offices set? Right now, the Quincy, and it's in my district, is really close to the Jane Edna building. So because we were technically in a lease commitment, we couldn't say that the Southeast needed to stay open and the Quincy should have been closed. So I just think overall it just needs to be looked at a plan. We should have at least 4, if we're talking about that emergency and all the emergency services that we have. When we look at the quadrants and all that's taken care of, Southeast Side has always been one that's been talked about. So I'm unhappy with the decisions of the administration at this time to not be able to find something that is in that area for those constituents, because they're not going to be able to come down here. They're not going to be able to afford it. We know how our phone system is. If I felt that our phone database was good and would answer every call, then this wouldn't be a concern. But it's, you know, and I know it's not up to par. Those people will call. If they miss 1 second, they are kicked off of their services. And these are the issues that we all have to deal with. That's all.
First, I just want to echo some of the things my colleagues have said. Obviously, Councilwoman Chantel Brown has mentioned the importance of signage and making sure that the customers, the clients are aware. So we want to make sure we give that attention. That's important. Also, I want you to kind of go back. The Board of Control's approval exemption was on the Board of Control's agenda back in May. And the payments that were made, I guess from June to August, those back payments. Kind of tell us what happened. What happened that those payments were not made?
I am going to ask the finance director to come up and speak on those items. But we did, as I think you're aware, that we went back and forth on the closing, when the time frame when this was going to happen, and coming to an agreement that will go till the end of the year. That was completed in May. So that's when we started the process to put it into the MyPro to get the approvals done. And things took a long time in there, and that's what brings us to here today, is because the lease now is well beyond 3 months in arrears. That we're here today asking for basically approval on first reading next week to get this item approved so that we can firm up and pay those payments or make those payments. Dennis.
Good afternoon. I would just ask a few specific questions. Just as a little background, I was aware that there was a problem with the lease roughly about 2 weeks ago when I was copied on an email from the landlord that said that they were going to cut off services, particularly to the microfilm unit, which is under my area responsibility. And that's when we went back to try and figure out where the negotiations were in terms of the lease extension. Given the payment that was processed, the question that was posed earlier, that payment should not have gone through because there was not authorization for that. I was not aware that payment wasn't processed or the check had been issued. We're going to take some steps where right now we're in the middle of a conversion with all the systems that we have moving to this new ERP system, which will eliminate some of these issues. But right now, because of the fact that the MyPro system is separate from the budget system, which is separate from Famous, which is our official financial reporting system, it appeared in terms of the check issuance that there was monies encumbered for this contract, and that's why the payment went through, when in fact the monies were not encumbered and should not have been encumbered until after we had received council authorization. We subsequently went back in meetings with Fiscal and Public Works and members of the Law Department to go back and present some items to the Board of Control so that we could at least get a portion of the monies paid to keep the landlord from shutting off services to the facility. I'm not sure if that entirely answers your question, sir.
Sound like transition from the computer program system from Novus to the, what is the new one?
We went from a Nova system to MyPro, and MyPro is separate. It doesn't share data with Famous. So there's a lot of manual processes that go into that. Not to belabor the point, but if we get 10 requisitions, the first requisition that's approved gets posted in Famous so that when the next requisition is being examined, there's a correct balance of what appropriation is left, even though it's not actually certified. The limitations of Famous that we're faced with, since it's a circa 1985 program, is it doesn't have any capability to assign things to what's called a commitment stage. So the people evaluating the requisitions that come in or requests for services can make an accurate representation of how much appropriation is left. So we're going to try and work out some more manual controls in the interim until the ERP is implemented. But in the ERP system, all that, they'll all share the same database, so that problem will be eliminated.
Okay. All right. Are there any further questions from the committee? Yes, Councilman Miller.
Mr. Chairman, Director, I share the concerns that have been expressed by my colleagues, and I would ask in making a closure decision like this, do we give any consideration to what the impact of the closure will have on the viability of business and neighborhood conditions, or is that not considered our problem?
David.
David Merriman again from Cuyahoga Job and Family Services. That is not the principal consideration we had when we made this decision, nor do I believe it was a consideration when we closed the Glenville site. So these are tough business decisions that we make based upon the availability of space within our building to have the services provided, as well as our ability to maintain client access to services. In this situation, over 80% of our work is done now on telephones. I agree with Councilwoman Conwell that our phone system is not where it needs to be, but improvements have been made and it is getting better, and that improvement will continue. We don't look at what the direct impact will be to the neighboring businesses. That's not something we look at.
Okay. Second thing is that I would like to just second something that Ms. Brown said at an earlier committee meeting, which is that we're going to be shortly going into the development of the Health and Human Services Plan for Cuyahoga County, and I think that in that context, it is important to remember that how successful we are in providing services and helping people does depend on how accessible they are, and there is a balance that needs to be struck between achieving the highest level of cost effectiveness on the one hand and providing services that everybody in our community can get to on the other hand, and I think that we should as part of that planning process give some intentional thought as to where the right place is for that balance.
All right. Well, we understand the importance of I understand the importance of this being on first reading adoption. We certainly want this the transition to be smooth, and I think this extension has been a good thing. However it came about, I think it gives us a little more time, and so I certainly support this extension again for first reading adoption. I thought it was important that we be able to allow the committee to ask these questions since it was going to be on first reading adoption. That is the heart of why we wanted to have this committee meeting today. At this moment, I will make a motion that we, I don't need to make an emotion, but I do want to just say I do support this when the time comes. And that is next Tuesday's meeting? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Tuesday? All right. Are there any further questions from the committee? If not, okay, thank you.
Thank you, members of council.
Mr. Chair, could I just, I don't think I would be in favor of supporting it unless they have at Tuesday's meeting, unless they have the signage up for the individuals in the community. They need as much information, and if that is not done and posted, then I will not be agreeing on it.
Well, did you hear that? Okay, the signage is important. Okay. Thank you. Our next discussion item is Youth Opportunities Unlimited, our contract amendment. And if you would like to speak to this item.
David Merriman, Caga Job and Family Services. I'm here today with a discussion item relating to a contract amendment with Youth Opportunities Unlimited. I'm joined today by Bob Math from my department, who manages the workforce service area, as well as Christine Alexander, his deputy, Carol Rivchin, the president and CEO of YOU, as well as Craig Dorn from YOU. We are here because we have an opportunity to extend one of our existing partnerships, and I'm requesting the chance to do that through first reading adoption of our proposal. If I can provide a little bit of background for you on the service, how we've gotten to this point, and what the specifics of our request are. So in the state's current budget, there was a proposal to launch an initiative called the Healthier Buckeye Grant Pilot Program. This was a program that was initiated by one of the state legislators who felt it important to identify new ways to provide services to address the needs of individuals living on public assistance. I think their intent was to have a more comprehensive system and structure. And I think at the end of the day, the goal was to promote financial self-sufficiency and reduced reliance on public assistance through a community environment that maximizes opportunities for individuals and families to achieve optimal health in all aspects. It was a lofty goal and ambition, but something that the administration parlayed into a request for grants. Information on the request for grants came out in February. The grant was released, I believe, in the it was called a RFGA. Essentially, an RFP was released, I believe, in April. Proposals were due into, it was released March 3rd. Proposals were due in May 3rd. So a very rapid turnaround, in my opinion, for something of this scale. And each county was given the opportunity to make multiple awards. Each award request was a maximum of $750,000 per application, and counties could submit multiple up to $1.5 million. The Cuyahoga County had, there was one additional component. Each county had to select a Healthier Buckeye Council that would be responsible for reviewing the proposals that would come in. Cuyahoga County chose to have our Economic Development Commission be recognized as that council because of the connection between the services and increasing self-sufficiency. And I believe this council made a decision in February to approve that designation. So the rapid turnaround on this proposal required that we submit simply an ask to area providers to see if they would consider writing proposals with us for consideration. There was no guarantee that anyone would get funded, that there would be any funding available, or that anyone would be, if they were in fact funded, they would be funded at the amount that they requested. We put all the responsibility on the partners to work with us to write the proposals. We then brought those proposals to the Economic Development Commission. They approved them. We ranked them 1, 2, and 3 and submitted our proposals to the state of Ohio on or about April 25th. May 3rd. The state had the goal of providing award notifications to counties 2 weeks later. and had made commitments to have funds available to counties before the end of that biennial process, that biennial budget year. That did not occur. And so I want to just start by recognizing that YOU was our number one proposal. They were our top ranked proposal. They wrote an excellent proposal that had a scope of services that were to begin in June, and to have some effective transition between programs. Unfortunately, the notice that came to us and then the subsequent provision of the grant award from the state to us to allow us to execute a contract was delayed. And we were left in a position to consider either beginning a new contract process and taking on all the delays that would require, or amending their existing contract. We chose to do the amendment, and we are requesting to bring it forward on passage in one reading because there is the ability for us to quickly engage young people that have been served by YOU in this county through our summer youth employment program, to continue our services with them for the remainder of the year, in effect providing, transitioning a summer youth employment program to a year-round training and employment program. And our desire to have this passed on one reading relates to the need, one, to maintain contact with these individuals, but also to try to continue with YOU, their existing staff and their existing programming, before we lose too many of the staff as well as the clients to other opportunities. The second, I'm going to ask Carol Rivchin to come up, and I'd like her to explain her program in more detail than I'm giving. But I want to take a second and just pause to see if there were specific questions about our process. And if it's okay, or there are no questions, I would ask Carol to get into the specifics of the program.
I have one question.
Councilman Miller?
You said that the ED Commission submitted our top 3 proposals. Did the state only approve the YOU proposal, or are there others that are in the works?
The state only approved the top proposal. Unfortunately, proposals from around the state came in at over $10 million. There was $11.5 million for funding. Our hope is that we would have had multiple proposals accepted and funded. And I don't believe any county got more than one proposal. In fact, many counties got none.
And how much was the YOU proposal funded for?
$748,000.
So it was essentially a full.
Yes, it was.
Well, compared to how we do on mental health and a lot of other things from the state, this is way better than we've seen elsewhere. So I'm happy that we were successful.
We were grateful for the award. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask Carol Rivchin to come forward and provide a little bit of detail, if it's okay, on the specific of the program that we're proposing.
Thank you. Well, as you know, you fund this wonderful summer jobs program. We had 2,460 kids, I call them, up to age 24 who were in this program. 914 of them were older youth. They were 18 to 24. They got paid a little more money. They were paid $10 an hour, and we were able to extend some of their hours so that they could get more hours. This Healthier Buckeye initiative is a fantastic opportunity for us to take, particularly for some older youth, 17 to 20, to give them even more opportunity. I probably don't have to tell you why that's important. Opportunity youth are young people who have graduated high school and who don't have a job and who are not going to college. We're very concerned about those young people. We want to make sure that they have a path that keeps them out of poverty or gets them out of poverty, and that's what Healthier Buckeye is going to do. So there were 914 youth age 18 to 24 who are in our summer jobs program. We're going to find 100 of those youth who've graduated high school, are not going to college, don't have a job, and we're going to give them a career pathway. That's what we're going to do the money for. They'll have a year, and right now are 3 career pathways, 2 of them in healthcare, 1 in general maintenance, one in IT. These areas were selected because they are most likely to provide a career pathway that will give everyone not only self-sufficiency for life, but also a living wage.
You said healthcare, IT, and what was the third career path?
2 in healthcare.
2 in healthcare and 1 in IT. The other thing is that we're working with Ohio Means Jobs, so although we're using the Healthier Buckeye money specifically for these career pathways, it does give us the opportunity in working with these young people to connect them if there's some other career pathway they would rather have. These 100 kids are going to get a lot of care and attention and skill building, so that a year from now, we plan that 60 of them will either be working full-time or will be in a career pathway for a living wage job.
Any questions from the committee?
I just wanted to make a point on that. Carol, I just didn't know if you knew the sewer district has that, so that, yeah, if you guys could leverage or connect with that, because they're on that career pathway too.
We are we work with the sewer district as well. We're trying to keep separate that this Healthier Buckeye, we're going to start with the pathways that we have, but we will definitely connect these 100 young people to whatever career they're interested in, and we can follow them for a year. That's the point. The other thing is that we believe this is an excellent opportunity for us to show the world, and certainly to show ourselves, what we can do when you build on a summer jobs program, so that we're getting to a year-round program rather than just that, the summer jobs. Summer jobs is a wonderful way to start, but we all know that we want to build from there. So we believe that there may be other funders or other funding opportunities that will continue this work after the year is done.
Let me add one point. So one point that I would like to make that Carol brought up, that there were approximately 900 youth that were 18 to 24 in this year's program. In the past, we served around 300 youth that were 18 to 24. The balance were 14 to 17-year-old youth. This year, we made a conscious decision to start to enroll more of the opportunity youth, as Carol described, because we feel like although it is important for us to serve high school youth, it is also a valuable opportunity for a person that's left high school and hasn't chosen a job, for us to begin to engage them in a real meaningful conversation about what they want to do. And in fact, this opportunity presents the ability for us to place them in a job that could turn into a full-time regular employment opportunity. And that's a really important step. If Bob Math is here with us, and he can talk about the history of summer youth, the thousands of youth that we've served. And it's a valuable program, especially for educational outcomes. It's invaluable in terms of some of their behavior outcomes. But there isn't the same ability to connect all of those youth to employment outcomes, because so many of them go back to school. They go back to high school. And what we really want to do is begin to connect young people directly to jobs and careers that are growing. I'd like to add just one other point on this, which is that one of the other distinctions in this project is we've written in Bridges Out of Poverty to be a component. This is an initiative that's gaining some attention around the state. I'm going to admit that I have questions about Bridges Out of Poverty. I think it presents a wonderful opportunity for systems to begin to confront their own perceptions about poverty, and for staff within them, and to make decisions and policies that are more responsive and respectful. At the same time, I want to use this pilot opportunity to explore Bridges before we make a full wholesale commitment to it. So there is much work to be done on that.
So I'm clear on the terminology, Bridges Out of Poverty, that is not this program, or?
Bridges Out of Poverty
similar?
is a trademarked training and convening program that brings parties from within systems together and has them begin to explore their own biases, their own perceptions and beliefs about poverty. So this is we're excited about what YLU is presenting because it's a very specific program to target young adults. At the same time, we're taking a step above, we're stepping above that, and we're also looking at the cultures within our organizations and how we view poverty.
So as you look at the pool of 900 some children that are 18 to 24, you're targeting those that are 17 to 20. So in
Yes.
other words, those who graduated high school.
That's exactly right. We're specifically targeting the ones who've graduated high school and are not going to college.
Not going to college, vocational. Okay. Excellent. Councilman Miller.
I would like to take this opportunity to make everyone aware that YOU was also the recipient for the new pilot program for the college level internship program that I sponsored and my colleagues were good enough to support, and after some time of development and process, we were able to launch this program this summer, and I had the chance to interview some of the staff and the youth that participated in that program, and like what we're doing here, this college level internship program is going to have both a summer and a fall component. So we're going to do it both during summer break and during the school year, and hopefully this also is going to give youth real world experience and the opportunity to develop relationships, and hopefully for some it's going to lead to full-time career pathways. So we're working on the same aspect with that. And the second thing I would mention is that I had an opportunity last fall to go down to Summit County and to participate in a day-long training program put on by their Bridges Out of Poverty program, and the program focused on the preconceptions and the assumptions about what we think about people who live in poverty, and what the attitude changes and belief system changes are that need to occur for people to successfully move from poverty into the middle class on a permanent basis, and it's a valuable body of information. So I found that very helpful, and it's I think it's a good thing that we're looking into that for how it can be applied here.
Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The question I have is, we're focusing on the Opportunity Youth, and of the 914, 100 will be selected. What is that process, and how will we measure success?
Through the chair, the answer to the question is we have a 3-step strategy to engage those youth. We have already invited all of them to come to some preliminary introductory event. Through that process, we've been able to connect with about 33, so about a third of the way there. We're going to reach out again. All the youth who participated, we have their information in a database, and we're going to work with our community partners. A lot of our summer job program, we have about 80 community partners who will help us engage them in a more personal way. And so that's step 2 that we're going to start in the next couple of weeks. If after that we still don't have 100, in addition to the 914, at that point we will feel that we've given them as much of an opportunity to participate. Some of them are, as Carol Rifshin indicated, are maybe going to college, and so they're not all necessarily available. Some just aren't interested. And so we're going to look at our database of over 14,000 youth and look to that group and see, are there some young people who applied for our summer employment program but did not get in, and that would be our final step to engage them. But we're giving 2 opportunities for everyone who participated in this summer. And we usually, when we reach out, we leave no stone unturned. We email, we text, we call. So we really give them an opportunity to reschedule if they can't make the appointment. And we had a series of events at the Ohio Means Job Center over the last couple of weeks, an orientation.
So we currently have 33. Our goal is 100. What's the date that we?
We want to have all 100 by December. It's a pretty short turnaround. As Mr. Merriman indicated, it started late, but it still ends on June 30th. So we now have about nine months. We want to get to 100 by December so we can engage them for at least 6 months minimum.
And my the question, the second part of my first question was the measure of success.
Sure. The primary measure is that at the end, that's at least 60 will be either employed or enrolled in some kind of training, some ongoing credential training. And that's the primary measure of success. Along the way, an interim progress measure is we're going to have an on-the-job training component, and we're looking for 80 to enter that piece, 80 of the 100 to enter. And of that 80, 72 will complete it. So that would be an interim measure of success.
Are there any other questions from the committee? Anything else you guys would like to share?
Well, first, again, I want to thank you for even considering this item and passage in 1 reading. I have Bob Math and Chris Alexander here. I think we have at Cuyahoga Job and Family Services established a reputation that we don't bring contracts late. We don't ask for approval in 1 reading unless there's a real significant reason. And I think there's an opportunity for us to act expeditiously here and to begin to serve these youth. And I appreciate that YOU has they've been using other funding to do some of the preliminary work. They're a WIOA provider, but at the same time, we need them to get going on our project because we have such a short timeline. So I don't think I don't know if there's a thing that we can do other than say thank you for even considering this item for passage in 1 reading.
All right, and that'll be on Tuesdays, correct? Tuesday's agenda?
That's correct, and we'll all be here.
All right. Any miscellaneous business? Anyone sign in for public comment?
Yes, Madam Vice Chair. Ms. Liu?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I did not know too much about that program, but now I found out that program is not only good to prevent the homeless youth. Probably, I'm not sure if they can serve the homeless youth. I mean, the people in that category, but already homeless. Right now, I'm not sure. I would like to know about that. The other thing is the homeless family situation has been really bad because the shelter right now designed for single adults right now has to accommodate, this is already more than 2 months. The problem is for the single adult situation, right now we have more elderly people with mobility issues. For them to get settled, they have no way to go to basement or second floor. But the first floor, they have to block certain area for the homeless family, which they are in bad situation because they cannot schedule when they become homeless due to domestic violence or other reasons. They have babies, they have whatever, so they cannot really go to other floor either. Unfortunately, the buildings, they were office buildings, not really designed for residential situation. So in addition to, we need probably more mattresses due to the flood damage. And we really have to seek out a solution. Hope the county council will initiate that because we don't know why in the past few years, why OHS supported a certain decision to close down lots of shelters for family spaces. Even the new one will be on the one which is run by Salvation Army, but unfortunately, the building wouldn't be completely done until November. But right now, it's since 2012, this situation has been on every summer. LMM, which is Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry, they have been very nice and helpful, but the problem here is, once you become homeless, you drag several children with you in the middle of the night, for example, 1 a.m., there's no way for them to make the transportation, everything for you right away. Even the overflow space still available. But actually right now, the bad situation is overflow has been full, overflow has been full too. So I really wish County Council can raise the question for them to understand some of the decisions they made in the past has to be corrected. Otherwise, the situation will still continue. That's no good for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment, Chrissy?
No.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.